a second here. I forgot the subject of this. Okay, so here we go. Wills. We have wills here. Let's go ahead. Was this straightforward as well? I think so. I think this was very straightforward. Honestly, I was a little bit surprised by this exam because for February they tend to have these questions that I don't know, they're non-standard. But for this essay, for this set of I think this is what happened here. When the bar graders were producing this essay, these set of questions, they took in mind that the MBE portion was going to encounter some unanticipated difficulties. So they said, you know what? Let's make the essay standard. Let's make it a little bit more standard than usual. Because this essay here, all the questions. I mean, maybe for that real property question, the BFP issue. We'll get into that later. Okay, but besides that, everything else is pretty much very standard. I was a little bit shocked, to be honest. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue. So hopefully that's good. I think that's good for you guys. That's good, right? As long as you discuss the essential elements there, you did your analysis. I think most of you guys did great on the written essay portion of the exam. Okay, so let's see now. Okay, so we have 3 items there. So what usually look, I get excited. What usually happens for wills and trusts is that you have some kind of instrument there that is produced maybe 10 years ago, a long time ago, and then something happens more modernly, and there's a change there. So how does that impact the old will? So let's get into this. So it says Tammy, who recently died, executed a valid typewritten will before her death containing the following articles. Number 1, I give $10,000 to my niece, Natalie. Okay, great. And then he called the question here, how much money, if any, will Natalie receive? And then you go into, I wrote here, codicil. Okay, so let me go ahead and again, these are the cheat sheets. I think codicil is one of these subjects, right? That you guys are familiar with, but I don't know, it's a little bit murky too at the same time. So what I did for the cheat sheets, I just said, hey, look, this came out a long time ago. And I wrote down there how they discussed it. So let me okay, great. Okay, so let's talk about that. Okay, so it says here, when the will was offered for probate, it appeared that after executing the will, Tammy crossed out the sum $10,000 in Article 1 and wrote above it the number 20,000, her initials and date. Okay, so okay, so what effect? All right. So we already know it's a codicil. Okay. Now for a codicil, what's the rule there? You still need to abide by the formalities. It requires full formalities. Okay, so initial, witness. So do we have a witness there? Do we have a witness? Probably not. So what happens if there's no witness? Well, then you think, hey, look, maybe there's a holographic will there. Okay, signed by, and I have the rule here at the bottom, signed by the testator, which that happens. She at least initialed it, right? Her initials. Okay, that counts. Material provisions appear in the testator's handwriting. It says here that she wrote the number 20,000. Okay, great. Intent, testimony capacity. Okay, that seems to have been met. So looking at these elements there, at these and the facts, I think that's a valid amendment. Okay, so it looks like Natalie's going to get 20,000. Okay, great. Now it says here, number 2, will Frank inherit the metals? Discuss. And it says here that Tammy, let's see what she wrote in her original will. I give my coin collection to my friend Frank. Okay, so it says nothing about the metals. Okay, so what do we have here? Let's go ahead and read this. It says, in addition to her coins, so we know about her coins. Okay. Tammy had valuable medals, which she kept in an album with her coins. All right, great. Okay, most coin collectors do not consider medals to be coins. Okay, that makes sense. The album included a typewritten note signed by Tammy, which stated that she wanted Frank to take care of her album after she was gone. Okay, so what do we have there? We have two sets, two gifts, right? We have what seems to be a specific gift, and we also have general gifts. So let me turn to this over here. Specific gifts and general gifts. So I think most of you guys said, hey, look, let's see, my coin collection. I think you guys most said, hey, look, the coin collection, that seems to be a specific gift, right? So, okay, great. Okay. And then let's see how that was incorporated here. Okay, so let's see. In addition to her coins, she had valuable medals, which she kept in an album with her coins. Okay, so there's two sets there. Okay, now when she conveys, it says, I give my coin collection to my friend Frank. Okay, so that's specific. And then we go here into the other gift, which is an album. You see what she's transferring? She says it says the album included a typewritten note signed by Tammy, which stated that she wanted Frank to take care of her album. You see that? Her album. So that's very general. That's definitely not specific. So I would just make that distinction. Okay, no, but if you didn't, hey, no big deal, right? No big deal. What we want to get to is whether the procedure that Tammy used was that a valid process. Okay, let's see. Let's see how she did it again. Okay, she included a typewritten note, and it was signed by Tammy. So again, that seems to be a codicil. So that's now we have to ask where the formalities were they observed properly. Okay, so let's look at the rule for a holographic will. Okay, look what it says here. It says the material provisions appearing in the testator's handwriting. So this issue, I kind of struggle with it because of my emotions. You guys see that? I don't know if that ever happens to you guys, but you're like, you know what? It's no big deal. You know, they take, you know, they you know, I mean, we could probably overlook that little element, you know. But then you think, hey, look, as an attorney, I mean, it's not really your decision, right, to make those substantive decisions. It's the client's decision. So if you're advocating for one side or the other, then you have to either way consider that. Okay, you have to consider whether the typewritten note was that a holographic will. Okay, to me, I'm thinking, wow, this person took the time and instead of just writing it, they actually grabbed the typewriter or some type of word processor and they took the time. In that case, they should have gotten, you know, a couple of witnesses in there and done it formally, but they didn't. So I'm going to say that that's not going to be a valid transfer. Okay, let's see now. So the album included a typewritten note. Okay, so I give my coin collection to my friend Frank. Okay, so Tammy stated that she wanted Frank to take care of her album, and her album contained the medal. So I'm going to say that Frank is not entitled to those medals. Okay, again, you might have something different. As long as you analyze this, it's great. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. How is the court likely to rule on NTC's petition? Oh, right. So what do we have there? The concept of cypress. All right, so you have to focus heavily on purpose. What's the purpose of the testator? And there she said, hey, look, establish a foundation dedicated to finding a cure for RG syndrome. Okay. And then, of course, later we find out that now that they found the cure, it says complete an inexpensive cure. So they're saying, look, the purpose that she had is no longer there. And that's where you have to decide, okay, whether the scholarship could be made. Okay, so yeah, that requires I think I could go either way. Yeah, go either way. All right, and I think that's it for question number 2. All right, so far so good, right? So far so good. We're smooth sailing here. Again, everything is straightforward. Okay, so let me do something here. Okay, just to change the. Okay, so this is gonna be for my assistant. Okay, number 3, question number 3, and then I'm gonna share my screen again, and I'm just gonna say, hold on, give me a second, share my entire screen. I just am gonna say again because we are gonna divide these videos into segments. So again, you guys, barSEs.com. I gotta throw the commercials in. Use the code JureXBar, and yeah, I do also like Brian, my boy Brian Hans magic sheets. So yeah. Oh, also tutoring. Yeah, I'm available for tutoring. Limited spots. Okay, great. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and go to question number 3.